In the heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierced the heavens and the glow of neon lights painted the streets in endless color, a man named Victor Halden sat surrounded by wealth, applause, and indulgence that most could never even dream of, his life defined by power, prestige, and a name that resonated through the corridors of Wall Street as if it were etched into the very marble columns of capitalism itself. And on this particular night he was throwing one of his infamous soirees at the Grand Skyline Hotel, a glittering ballroom filled with chandeliers and the polished shoes of the wealthy elite, where laughter rang out as waiters dressed in crisp uniforms carried silver trays stacked with delicacies and bottles of wine worth more than most families made in a month. And at the center of this splendor, polished like a jewel among glass, stood a glossy black grand piano, played effortlessly by Victor himself, a man who prided in flaunting not only his money but also the rarefied skills he believed separated men like him from the ordinary masses. Yet outside this golden cage of light, in the alleyway where the smell of dumpsters and exhaust filled the air, a girl named Amara clutched her empty stomach and tried to quiet the growl that betrayed her hunger, her tattered coat too thin for the chill of the evening, her shoes worn, her hair tied in rough braids that framed a face both weary and unbowed, because life had given her hardship and abundance but had failed to break the quiet dignity she carried like a hidden crown, and as fate would weave its cruel threads, Amara found herself pulled by the faint echoes of music that slipped through the doors of the hotel, notes of elegance and wealth drifting like cruel taunts into the night air. Inside, Victor was in his element, boasting of mergers, cracking jokes at the expense of the poor souls who don't hustle, when one of his guests noticed the frail figure peering timidly from the doorway, and with a smirk whispered into Victor's ear, sparking laughter that rippled through the group like wildfire until Victor himself, with his perfect hair and diamond-studded cufflinks, raised his voice loud enough for all to hear. "Hungry? Then play the piano, girl, because here in my world nothing is free." Gasps of amusement circled the room as Amara hesitated at the threshold, torn between pride and hunger, her eyes scanning the glittering tables laden with untouched food that would be scraped into bins before the night was over, and then her gaze fell on the instrument itself, that grand piano gleaming under crystal chandeliers like an old friend calling her home, because deep inside her, long before the streets had claimed her, before hunger had become her shadow, there had been music. Training in dimly lit rooms with a mother who believed talent was the one gift that could not be stolen by poverty, and though her fingers were now calloused from survival and her stomach knotted from emptiness, the night of reckoning might arrive not with silence but with thunderous anticipation, for Leonard Ashcroft had arranged a grand gala at Carnegie Hall, an event meant to unveil Amara not as a street girl taken in by charity but as the rising star of a new age, her name printed on golden programs, her image captured in soft spotlight posters that lined the entryway, and the city, curious and buzzing, turned out in droves, filling the hall with the chatter of critics, politicians, and socialites, all eager to witness whether the miracle of that infamous party had been a fluke or the birth